Hello again, Dr. Jimmy, once more on this Wednesday the 28th of September, which is, of course, the last day of a 3-day break before Halloween Horror Nights 26 resumes tomorrow night at Universal Studios, Florida. Also tomorrow will be the first night the repository begins. So I won't be talking about the repository because I haven't been there yet. I won't be able to do that until it opens. It starts tomorrow. Will I be going into the repository tomorrow? There's always a chance. Yes. Will I come out alive again? Ooh, that's another question entirely. Scary. I've heard this might be, poop your pants house, but we don't know yet because hasn't opened. It's somewhere in Soundstage 19. Tucked away behind American Horror Story. I thought I looked through a curtain and saw a gargoyle the other day, but maybe not because it's been seen outside the building. They're putting it in yesterday, the gargoyle, so we know those are coming back again. So it has some legendary truthiness about it, obviously. What is Nemesis, by the way? If you've been paying attention on Facebook, you should know about that, and you should know about something that happened in Edinburgh a couple hundred years ago. Somebody named Griswell and someone named Bent. But we'll get to that later, if we ever do, because hasn't happened yet. I'm talking about my impressions of Horror Nights over the past 7 nights of the event, and I've covered all the haunted houses in the first 2 videos. This is part 3. Let's talk about scare zones. So, what's my favorite scare zone this year? Dead Man's Wharf. Oh my God, that's beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's like, for me, it's like a perfect little aquarium set. You know, the things you put at the bottom of the fishbowl. You know, little sunken ship and a little diving helmet or something. It looks like something out of Bikini Bottom. Yes, SpongeBob ScarePants. I don't mean to make fun of it because it's beautiful and it's just lovely. And the makeups with all the little sea things crawling on the, the little starfish and mollusks and barnacles on the desiccating corpses of these fishermen from under the deeps, and they look like deep ones from Lovecraft, even though it's supposed to be connected to Edgar Allan Poe. But the deep ones, not full on deep ones, but they start changing. They start changing before they become deep ones, while they're still humans on Earth, and before they go down into the deeps. So it has a sort of Innsmouth feel, and it's like, oh my God, this is so creepy. And there's a guy with a diving helmet, and they've added something yesterday, not yesterday, what was the last night? Sunday. I hope they keep it, they were just testing it, where they put black light, they put fluorescent makeup on him, and then while he's walking around, suddenly the black light turns on inside his diving helmet, and his face starts glowing. Ooh! And it's just, the lighting is really neat, and the fog, it's a cramped little space to get through, but it works so well. And it's not just fog. By the ship itself, there's mist that comes out, and it smells like the sea, and it feels like heavy, moist air that has that ocean tang to it. It's like, oh my God, this is so wonderful. It hits every sense. I really love this. So I can sit back on a bench and watch it all night long. It's pretty. It's beautiful. It's marvelous. It's little, but it's so cute and wonderful and it is creepy in a lot of ways too. I'm not saying it's just pretty. They do a good job of scaring, and makes me want to go to an oyster bar afterwards. It's just, oh, I like it, and but also Edgar Allan Poe's poetry, Annabel Lee. That's not the poetry I think of when I see it. I think of Shakespeare because it reminds me of Ariel's song. Full fathom 5 thy father lies. Of his bones are coral made. These are pearls that were his eyes. And nothing of him that doth fade, but that suffer a sea change, becoming something rich and strange. Yes, it is very rich and strange indeed. I love that scare zone. Brilliant. So that's my personal favorite zone. Now, number 2 zone for me, these are kind of hard. Beginning of the event, I would have said Lair of the Banshees. It's beautiful as well, right now it's neck and neck with the other one, Survivor Die Apocalypse. I like both zones very much. They're 2 and 3, but I'm not sure which. Lair of the Banshees in Central Park. They did a really good job of putting it into Central Park and creating a forest atmosphere. You've got the monolith stones with weird Celtic inscriptions, and the scare actors are these banshees, and so different, many types. You know, there's seductive female spirits, and then there's the more hideous ones with faces that remind you a little bit of the nightingales. And I think that's intentional. I think there's a connection between the mythologies, because the nightingales are banshees and they have all those nasty beaks of teeth. And sometimes there's lamprey-like faces with multiple rows of teeth. It's kind of creepy, scary. Although I've heard one of the costumes is simply the ghost costume from Beetlejuice that they've reused and put in some more bits, which is kind of funny to hear that. You know, Universal is green. And there's these male figures that are cat face, and of course, you know, I like cats. So we've got more feline creatures, the Celtic cat dudes, as I call them. And one of them spoke to me and doing a bit of an accent, you know, a Scottish accent, saying, "Hello, doctor," yeah, that sort of thing. Hooded figures. You've got this great big ghost on stilts. It's quite freakish. And you've got a sort of ghostly creature floating in a screen they have inside one of the set pieces off to one side. You know, it gives it a more ethereal feel. And they've got this one sort of Grim Reaper figure. His face has all big nasty teeth. And my God, that's impressive. I like that. And other banshee creatures with horrible freakish faces and feathery wings. So it also connects to nightingales, the bird wings. So I was thinking this is all quite lovely. And nice music, playing Celtic-like music in the atmosphere and the fog and the lighting. It's just a lovely little scare zone for Central Park. I like it quite a bit. Now, the other one, Survivor Die Apocalypse. The whole idea is there's 3 warring clans. Now, there's been rumors it was going to be a purge election year zone. They had to switch it up because of the Pulse nightclub shooting. I don't know if that's true or not. But the 3 warring clans, none of them have any firearms. Apparently there's not enough oxygen, and so they have to fight over what's clean, breathable air, which doesn't make a lick of sense because there's all these vines growing on the buildings, tearing them down with the crumbling building effect that they had in Acid Assault a few years ago. There's stuff growing on Lou Wasserman's statue. There's a car with a tree growing out the middle of it, in the middle of the whole thing. It's like all this greenery. There would be lots of oxygen. I don't get that, but the tribes have. There's a tribe called Artifice, and they're color-coded yellow. And they're all the cult of their mother. Their mother protects them. And come to mother, mother will help you. They do have a lot of good air, though, because there's a big fan on their thing that blows. And if you're it's a hot night, you can stand in front of the Artifice fan. It's like, ooh, I have to take my hat off because it's going to blow away. And it cools you off really nicely. And they try to get you to go to mother. And so I think the clan should actually be called Oedipus instead of Artifice, because, you know, they're all mama boys. And they're all wearing like Arab robes or something. It's kind of silly. And then in the middle we have the Highway Hounds. Highway Hounds, that's their call sign. It's sort of, you know, doing this, but sometimes like this because it looks like a little doggy. You know, I guess little Highway Hounds. And they're driving around in a little cart. And they have lots of chainsaws, and they've all got big furry things and gas masks. Kind of covers them up a bit too much, especially when they're sexy looking and they can't see them because they're covered up. But they're the Highway Hounds. They're sort of nomadic, kind of free-spirited, you know, get out on the highway, yeah. You know, born to be wild type of thing. My heart is with them. My heart was with them. They all want me to swear allegiance. You know, I haven't quite sworn allegiance, and I do make the signs, but I don't have to swear allegiance to any one of these clans. You know, Artifice, not really. Horror Hounds, my heart is with them and their freedom and their wildness, but other parts of my anatomy like Dominion better. You know, Dominion, because Dominion is sexy. You know, a little bit lower than my heart, you know what I mean? You know, down a little bit lower, you know, naughty bits. Dominion is sexy. The Dominion characters are all, male and female, both are wearing sexy kind of bondage gear, but they're all sexy, nice bodies, mostly. And, you know, they got the leader up high, kind of like Cyrus from the Warriors. They keep expecting him to say, "Can you dig it?" He doesn't say that, but you expect that. He's calling people together, and they make the sort of Black Power salute, which is funny because the leaders do seem to be African American, so it's kind of funny that this is their symbol. Color is purple. The highway hounds are blue. Artifice is yellow. So the purple happens to be my favorite color. Also, I'm a big fan, big supporter of Orlando Lions, Orlando City Soccer Club, and purple. I bleed purple. I think purple. I live purple. So, I find myself, towards Dominion more than the others for that reason. And they all and it's nice to watch the changeovers, the cast change, when they start going at each other. It's a fun zone. You can watch that all night too. So, neck and neck between Lair, the Banshees, and that. Vamp 55 I like a whole lot too. It would be in fourth place only because there's nowhere else to put it. But it's wonderful to watch that, and a lot of people like it best. And really, it is a damn good zone. The music takes me back. It's all music from the 50s. I'm actually from the 70s, but still, it's music that I heard growing up, and it's it's got the homecoming parade and the floats and all the vampire greasers that have taken over, and most of the high school kids from the Hollywood High and the team, the Suns, and the arch nemesis with the bats. They've already been vampirized, and there's this principal walking around with his paddle because he believes in discipline. I think it's a tribute I think it's a marvelous thing that an African American gentleman, in both casts the character is black, was able to be the principal of a high school in 1955, a primarily white high school, because that's just so progressive that he was able to do that in a time when black people really didn't have those advantages. He's a role model and a pioneer, and I applaud him. I've told him on his Twitter feed. He has his own Twitter. I don't know if it's actually official or not. It was kind of a funny joke. He says, "Yes, I am a role model. I met a young man and encouraged him. His name is Orenthal." It was like, oh my God. Yes, and I said, yes, I bet he'll do some great things in the future. He might, maybe he'll play for UCLA someday. Oh dear God. And the vampires, especially a couple of them, do a really terrific job. I have to give a shout out to Clifford, the big gay vampire, who is hysterical, and to another vampire. I don't know the name of the character, but the actor's named Cody, who is just, he dances to the music. He'll grab one of the girls and bite her, and it's just, I love the whole thing. And there's like, band, the marching band, and the cheerleaders, and a principal, not a principal, one of the school teachers and coaches, and the football players. I have to keep thinking the football players are going to go up and say, "Coach, I didn't think we survived the crash," because now there's a school bus in the zone too. Reminds me of that, Beetlejuice scene. The last time I went through the zone, adolescent fantasy realized, okay? I was once a little teenage nerdy gay boy, right, way back in the day. And yeah, you see these big jock football players, and it's like, you fantasize, but it's never going to happen. Well, I'm there, and this big jock football player comes up to me and says, "You are yummy." And it's like, of course he meant, blood, but still it was like thrill, because that was like, if that had happened to me when I was 15, damn. That's like fantasy fulfilled. I like that. So, terrific. I think they're doing excellent performances in that zone. Again, it's a zone you can sit back and watch all night long. The little prom queens asking for help. Help me. It's like, look, let the guy bite you. In 60 years, in the year 2016, you're going to be, an old lady. If you let this guy bite you, you'll still be as young and pretty as you are now in 1955. Think about it. Well, you'll have a funny, kind of bulging forehead, but other than that, you'll be, not all the time, just when you're hungry. Oh. I have to pet the cat for a moment. She's rolling over for her tummy to be pet. I have to be careful. Scratch it too much, 1 second longer than she wants, and she'll bite you. It's a cat thing. All right, pointy fangs like Vamp 55. Vamp cat. All right, so what's the rest on the bottom? Chance in Hell. Now, not a bad scare zone, but tiny. I love the craziness, the lunatics. There's one named Julius who's dressed like, you know, he thinks he's Caesar. And I always want to say to him when he's chasing a female guest, to say, "Hey, Julius, seize her!" Ooh, I know I'm going to be attacked if I ever say that, because, you know, I'm not supposed to be the one making the bad jokes, but they're crazy and they're fun. But it's too much like Psychoscarapy last year, and not enough going on. But Chance herself, when she's in the zone, is brilliant. Now they have lovely sets set up with, you know, various body parts and things that are pretty to look at. But when Chance is on, people will crowd up and hear her, because she goes on and does a whole spiel, and you could get your photo with her, and she'll talk to herself, because there's a voiceover, that's her other personality, you know, fun stuff, interaction going on. So that's cool. I do like that. A lot of theatre in that zone, but it's just so small and just like, you know, and it's not too different from the house in many ways. Again, I don't dislike any of the zones, but I have to rank that at the bottom. But all the zones are pretty cool this year, so I like them all. All right, shows. The 2 shows this year, if you don't count all the street theatre going on. The 2 shows, though, are Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure and Academy of Villains House of Fear. A Bill and Ted show this year. I liked it. I laughed a couple times, but it's for me not as good as last year's. It seems a bit weak at times. The political stuff, well, you know, they seem to pick more on Hillary Clinton than they do on Donald Trump, and that, you know, maybe they're afraid the Republicans and Trump's followers will attack them if they attack Trump too hardly or something. I don't know. It's a little bit of timidity about it. A lot of the usual stuff, you know, mocking Disney, a running gag of Avatar World. But they do have some terrific moments. I do like the Suicide Dance Squad, excuse me. Although when Harlequin comes out, it's like, oh, it's Chance, because she's in this show too. And the whole versus theme is quite funny, where they have, you know, Superman versus Batman, you have Captain America versus Iron Man, you have this versus that. And although the Bill versus Ted thing, through the power of the dark side, they did that before, back in 2000 something, when they had, you know, I think it was 2004, when they had one of the Star Wars movies, not the Phantom Menace, the one after that, Attack of the Clones. What? Maybe the Phantom Menace. What was the one? The one where he became Darth Vader. You know, the one where he's like, no! That one. I forget what the name of it now. Revenge of the Sith? I don't know what it was called. Whatever it was, that 6th Star Wars movie, they had the whole thing of him taking over the mind of either Bill and or Ted. I forget which one it was now. And they do that again this year. So it's like, hey, although they have a very interesting way of realizing the whole concept of 69, dude, in a thrillingly visual way on stage, which I think a lot of members of the audience appreciate. So that's something, if nothing else. Also, cast changed a bit. You know, Jason Ryan Perry, I guess I can name him now, had played Ted Theodore Logan for 7 years. And he decided he was not going to do it anymore this year. I actually sat next to him to see the show the other night, and he enjoyed the show, and of course, because he was sitting next to me, the cast, when they jump up on stage and attack you and stuff, it's, you know, they're right, you know, it's like, hey, it's like I'm right there, so it's kind of fun to do that. But the new Ted, he doesn't do a bad job, but it's a bit jarring if you're used to Jason, who has a sort of Amerasian look about him, like Keanu Reeves does, and fit the character so well, and you got ensconced in your mind as Ted, and this guy's skinny. I mean, he's so thin, he looks like he needs a good meal. I've heard that he eats all the time, he just doesn't put on any weight. I really envy that metabolism. I wish I could do that. But he has, I mean, he looks like someone who might be better off playing Ernest from the Ernest movies. I don't mean to be rude, but that's just, the wig looks so fake on him because it doesn't match his look. It's like, okay, I will suspend my disbelief, this is Ted now. Because obviously the same actor can't play them for 26 years. And we've had many different Bills and Teds over the years. James, who is now Jack the Clown, was once Ted for many years back in the day, and then he stopped at a certain time, and then he started playing other characters. He was in the show for many years afterwards, playing different characters, even after he was Jack. The last time he was ever in the show, he played a pirate from the Pirates of the Caribbean. But you know, it's what happens. You know, it comes a time when you just can't play the same character forever. So we've gone through many cast changes over 25 years, because the show started in '92. This is the 25th version of Bill and Ted. So, yeah, it's all right, but you know, I would have liked. You know, it's not that I don't. It's not just the cast change. It's okay. He does a good job, but there's just something about the show this year that doesn't quite. I didn't have as many laugh out loud moments. Not enough. You know, it wasn't as funny. I saw the show 4 times already. It's okay. I'll probably see it a few more times, but you know, it's not my favorite Bill and Ted of the past 25 years. Not my least favorite either, but certainly not as. I didn't laugh anywhere near as much as last year's show. I don't know why. But good tributes, though. Tribute to Prince and David Bowie, and you know, not bad, not bad. Could have been better, but not bad. Academy of Villains, House of Fear, though. Oh my God! Quite possibly the best show I've ever seen at Halloween Horror Nights. Brilliant. Of course, that's to be expected. Some people are like, I've seen online, meh. Meh? What the fuck? Maybe you just don't like dancing. That might be it. I don't know. But this is not a theme park show. That's the problem. All the other shows we've had have been theme park shows, unless, of course, in the old days we used to have live bands, and then, of course, that's a different story. And this is kind of in that category, like, you know, going to see and seeing a live band perform. That's a name band that's famous. It might have that aspect to it, rather than something like Carnage Returns or Bill and Ted or the Rocky Horror Tribute. But it's even better than the magic shows that are professional level shows like Brian Brushwood or 20 Penny Circus or others. This is a show you would see in Vegas, or maybe even in New York on Broadway or off Broadway. The quality is that good, and the dancing and the acrobatics, and it's not just dancing. They have shadow play. They have short films. They have some puppetry. That is simply amazing. I don't want to give too much away because I encourage everyone to go and see this, and you need to have the element of surprise. But let me just say there are a couple of moments in the show which are like, wow. And part of it is the Dream Machine. That's wonderful. I'll tell you what they are. I want to describe them. The Dream Machine. Oh my God! You're sitting there going, whoa. And then of course you have there's the fellow, this one young fellow who will rip his shirt off and who will do things on the stage that will astound you, and you will see him do things that you'll say, how did he do that? And then there's another at the moment at the end which features, it's done to the sound of Queen's classic Bohemian Rhapsody. That's all I'm going to say. But when you see that, you'll go, oh my God, and you'll laugh, but you'll also be like stunned. It's like, that's amazing. And it's just the choreography, the dancing is the skill level. And the production value is so high. It's just way above the bar, and it's like, this is an amazing show. I've already seen it a few times. I intend to see it many more times, and I'm stunned every time. Furthermore, Academy of Villains, and those people say it's like the Jabberwockies. No, it's so much better. I've seen the Jabberwockies on the video in Hollywood. This is so much better. But they do many different shows. They've done all sorts of shows, made them horror themed, and they wrote and did this show specifically for Horror Nights in Orlando. theme to Shady Brook Asylum. So it fits into the mythology of Horror Nights in Orlando. And it's all set in Shady Brook and deals with the asylum and the stuff that happens there when the inmates go mad and take over. And so it fits into the whole storyline, and especially with Chance being incarcerated there. She doesn't in the show, mind you, but still it's like it fits in with the whole theme. And so it's like, wow, this is terrific. This really is terrific. So again, the show is absolutely brilliant, and I'd go back and see it again and again and again, and probably will be doing so. So that's how I feel about the houses, the scare zones, the shows this year. I really like the shows. Not quite as good as last year for me. Last year was pretty amazing. This year, though, is damn good. And I'm having a good time. And furthermore, I've heard more is going to be added. I think the haunted houses still might have new stuff added in, maybe some new scare actors popping up in the streets. I don't know, but you know, they just added that light effect to Dead Man's Wharf the other night, so they might be putting some new stuff all over the place. They did that last year too. They added like the Crypt Keeper in the final couple of weeks. They added some other bits. So keep your eyes out. If you went the first weekend, go back later on, and especially, of course, starting tomorrow night, the Repository. And that's going to be there for every remaining night of the event. Now, I've only booked one night, of course, but I'm thinking, if it's really amazing, I might go back and book another night before the thing is over. Of course, it depends on, it depends on cash. I'm not poor, but I'm not that rich. So I might, and especially with the sort of other things I've spent recently, I've had a lot of recent expenses. I'll have to think about that carefully. But I might find myself doing that, but I have to see it first though. If it's worth doing twice, then I might have to go back and do it again. We'll see. I'm anticipating that, and of course I hope I'm not setting myself up, because sometimes you anticipate, and then you get disappointed if it's not everything you expected. I think it's part of the problem with Halloween, for example, or Krampus. I would love them a lot more if they were everything I anticipated. So sometimes you can sabotage your own enjoyment of the event by expecting too much. But based on what I experienced, the Legendary Truth last year, which scared the fuck out of me, and is the single scariest moment of Halloween Horror Nights for me. It's subjective. Not the same thing doesn't scare everybody. But last year at the end of 25, when I did that Legendary Truth thing, and there's some things I still can't talk about, but there was a moment when you felt overwhelmed by the darkness coming after you, and it was like, holy crap, I can't get out of this, they're going to get me, I'm doomed. That moment of terror from last year, I've been told this year is going to be worse. Some of the people, again, maybe it's hype, I don't know, we'll find out, but I've been hearing more and more the term shit your pants. So I'm going to take clean underwear with me when I go to try the Repository, and hopefully after sometime later I'll make another video where I talk about the Repository. I might make another video where I may give, goddamn, Twitter is going nuts on my iPhone, but I may give more, I may adjust my reactions, because we could have the 9 houses, they could shift around, and might, a house that was lower on the list might go higher up. I might have a different favorite house, same thing with zones, but not shows, not at all shows. There's no way Bill and Ted could ever get better than Academy of Villains before this event is over, unless something miraculous happens, but I doubt that. So so as of now, that's where I'm at, but I may do more reports later on in the year as the event continues to talk about how it has changed, or how it's gotten better or worse or whatever. Until then, I'm likely to do more videos this weekend, probably talk about next year, continue my history of 23, because I'm only up to part 15 in my history of 23 in Horror Nights history. Do my Who's Who videos for Krampus, Lightning Gulch, and Tomb of the Ancients, and American Horror Story. Do my Who's Who videos for those, and also continue my cocktail videos. So lots of videos to do over the next several days. And but right now I've done these three, and that's my first reactions to Howling Horror Nights 26. And if you haven't been yet, please go and enjoy the event, and hopefully I might even be able to see you out in the fog, somewhere lurking in the spooky dark. Until then, I bid you au revoir.